Hi guys, I'm Chirag Sehgal. You're watching me on Bollywood Live and India.com. And on June 14 last year, world was left shocked after hearing the demise of Sushant Singh Rajput. And as we mark his first death anniversary today, we have with us a very good friend of his and one of his co-actors from Pavitra Rishta, Amit Sarin. Hi Amit, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi Chirag. It's nice to see you guys.
When you got to know last year, like your encounter with the news that Sushant is no more, how was it? Or like, what were you doing on June 14? Who told you?
Well, I was in LA here when I got the news, and it's shocking. It's unbelievable. When it happens to us, if at all. I mean, God forbid if anybody has to hear, but life is life. We do lose people in our life, whether it's our sometimes closed ones or friends or whatever. But in this, I mean, when something like this happens, which is so unexpected, knowing him, the last thing which would come to mind, which was initially that he did a suicide, and XYZ. So that kind of thing was unbelievable. So that added, the whole thing. Oh my God, how's that possible? Knowing him, he's full of life. He saw life in a different way. I mean, his smile is one of the, I would say, his key. One good thing about him is his smile was, contagious and so, so joyful. So, that expresses what you are inside, So, it was unbelievable that, about suicide, or then the other theories started coming out. So it was, before it gets settled, it was getting more, it was more disturbing to hear different, kind of theories and things like that. So.
But like, what is that one thing that comes to your mind when you hear Sushant?
Sushant, a simple, loving, charming boy, full of dreams.
You have worked with him on, like, during Pavitra Rishta as well. How was he on the sets? What are these, like, any memories of yours with Sushant?
He was, as I said, I'm from a small town, Banaras. He is from a small town. So from the way I saw it was different, maybe, and everybody sees, they have their own perspective. He was a small town boy with very simple things, which makes him happy, interactive at the same time, shy, humble, down to earth, had no qualms about himself. So, all these things made, Sushant. So it was like very easy going, as I said, with no qualms. Very flexible to be anywhere, be with anyone. So, that makes it so easy to relate to a co-star like that. And when you know more about him, so, so it was so, I would say, very easy.
So was he one of those who used to add charm and fun on the sets?
Oh yeah, he was. We all are funny. In the sense when you're on sets, after a while, it's just like it's a kind of family. After the shots, you're having, you're sitting, you're having your meals together, you're having fun, you're having conversations, laughter together. So yeah, and that's the beauty of the sets, and that's what's something I miss being on sets. It's that's the beauty.
But then, like, what is your best memory with Sushant?
It's hard to pick, but I remember once we were having some scene. I think it was in a garage setup or something like that, and we started discussing about our engineering days, and we didn't realize, and there was like, in between shots, and we were talking like, you slipped into a college things. College conversations are like anyway so potent. It takes you, back in those lanes of memory. And we started conversation. We started that conversation about college, and then all of a sudden we realized the director twice said, action, and like we forgot in a way. So yeah, talking about college days and like how he could not complete. I think his engineering, he just did 2 years, and then he had to go for a concert with Shamak in Australia or something like that. That was his first, I think, foot towards the dream or the passion he had for acting, or rather dancing to start with, that he even chose over engineering to follow his dream. So yeah, I mean, that kind of conversation we were having, from engineering related to how and when he left, and the director had to twice said, guys, I said action, what happened? You guys are still chatting. So yeah, I remember that.
Even after Pavitra Rishta, when he moved on for his career in Bollywood, were you guys in touch?
Yeah, I mean, we met once or twice. I mean, he had a few friends who were still from TV and stuff. So I think that's where he started, and he had close friends within the TV fraternity. So we did met on and off. We met at some social occasions, and some friends gatherings and stuff like that.
Do you think Sushant is more than acting, more than Bollywood? Like we discussed that from a small town, and then becoming an inspiration for not many other people. Don't you think he's just more than acting, more than Bollywood?
Oh, sure, of course. It takes so much, and I think the reason you cherish that and the reason you celebrate that, because it's not easy. I mean, coming from a small town, having no one as your mentor, or rather, godfather to guide you how to go about it, and you're vulnerable every day. You don't know what is the right thing. You're just following your heart, you're following your passion. Whosoever comes across to you and extends any help is like a mentor to you. So to reach that kind of stature, so many of us come to Mumbai, step into Mumbai, having those dreams, and anybody who's able to see those dreams coming true, it's a huge celebration. And I think definitely Sushant should be and was one of the guy to be celebrated, who came from a small town, made such a good mark for himself. He was doing so well. He did some good films, and to be there, I mean, it's everybody's dream, I would say, and he did that. And he knew that somewhere in his heart. He was very thankful. He was very close to nature, and he wanted to be around nature, and he took his inspirations from there, and always was thankful somewhere in his heart about so far what he could achieve. And I think he had huge potential also. I mean, huge potential.
Being from a small town, do you think that was one of the things that connected both of you the most? Like, you were also from a small town, Sushant as well, and then pursuing career in acting, in television.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's so many things you yourself in your question said that so was common. Yes, to starting point. I mean, people from small town, I mean, when you kind of meet, that somewhere becomes the first connection from your, I mean, the conditioning, the vibes, there's so much that makes your character from where you come from. So that easily and then straight away becomes a very relatable, or connecting point. And yes, for us, for both him and me, that was certainly one of the connecting point. That, hey, I mean, he's from Patna, I was from Banaras. So, hey, I mean, because we understand immediately without saying or talking much our journey, so in your head, you talk about, I know where you're coming from, and vice versa, and you know where other person is coming from. So and we know it's so difficult. It's so tough. It's not easy.
There are reports of Pavitra Rishta season 2 coming in. If you are approached for the show, will you come back?
Well, now when I'm in LA, yes. I mean, just the thought, forget the logistics, how will it work? I would love to be part of Pavitra Rishta. It's very, I love that show. and leaving, as I said, logistics behind. And if the thing that I can and should be part of that, I would like to make my. I'll try and work it out for sure. Why not?
But like, how easy or how difficult it is for you to imagine Pavitra Rishta without Sushant? Like, like Sushant's and Ankita's honest chemistry.
It's so hard to. 1 second. Just, it's obviously, he gave life to that character. He was that character. So obviously, it's gonna be very difficult to imagine it without him, for sure. But we see in life. I mean, we need to move on, and there are many spin-offs we have seen that someone else was doing something, and then someone someone else takes over it. But yes, it will be very difficult to imagine Pavitra Rishta without him, for sure. There's no two ways about it. And look at the kind of journey he had, the kind of accolades he had, or the appreciation he had, for his role or portrayal. That goes to say that people loved him. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, if you are asked to define Sushant in one word, what word will it be? Or is it like impossible to define in a word?
No, what comes to my mind, a boy with full of life and a very charming boy.
Thank you so much, Amit, for joining with us. It was wonderful to have you. Thank you so much.
Rajat, thank you so much. It was nice talking to you.